This is Ron Rushworth from Ron's Workshop. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do some Lazy Susans. I have two finished ones here. One is made out of oak and the other one's made out of maple. There's a lot of processes involved in this. A piece of wood that I have done is just a piece of maple that I have cut and finished the edges and glued them all together. You can use 10 pieces, however, depending on the width of the wood. And then I have a little pattern here that's the size of this circle. So I've drawn a circle around it, and then I've clamped them all together with some of that special yellow glue because the white glue doesn't work very well. So I've clamped this, let it dry. So I've got the thing here ready to cut. It's been all circled and everything, so I'll start it up, the machine. Okay, this is a sponge cleaner that you can get from the hardware store, and you don't need to take the paper off or anything, and it will clean the sanding wheel. So I'll turn it on. Okay, now I can start sanding this. Okay, this is a sanding machine that I've built. It's for doing wide surfaces, and it just takes the rough edges off. So I'm just going to be doing the bottom part of this, and I'll show you the reason why for later. So that came up pretty smooth on the bottom now. Okay, I'm going to be just ruddering the bottom edge only of this, and I'll explain a bit later. I've got to now put this Lazy Susan on. I have already put one finished. I'll pass that. I can't find it again. There it is. Everything gets moved. My first step after I finished sanding the sides and ruddering is to put this little piece of wood on the Lazy Susan itself and screw it into this, and now you have that. Now you have to turn the whole Lazy Susan over, upside down, and there's 4 more screws here that you will put into the center of the thing. So by putting it in the center, you find the center of the hole, and you mark on the template, and then I'm going to mark right through into the wood. Now we got 4 little tiny holes here, and I have to go and drill a small drill to drill into here so I can put the screws in. Okay, this is a very tiny drill because I'm going to be putting very tiny screws in that plate. So now I don't want this to go right through, so I'm going to set my stop I'm just putting 1 screw in here to hold that Lazy Susan down so it doesn't swing all over the place. And I'll put the other ones in. Now that I've got it all attached, including the little piece of wood that's attached to the Lazy Susan, you turn it over and give it a bit of a spin. You see that it's working all right. Now you have to, at this point, turn around and take these all off again because when you put the top part on, these holes have to be drilled. Otherwise, you'll break the top pieces. Now, at this point, the bottom is finished, and you turn it over, and you have to take this to a planer and get this all planed off before you can go any further. The reason you only do the one side is because when you put these legs on, they will break when you put this screw thing on, this Lazy Susan on the bottom. Okay, this is the next step towards the top after the top has been planed. And this is a little template I've cut out, and I've already cut one little piece out. I've got a couple of marks here for the holes, and I've got 3 more pieces here to cut out on the bandsaw, which I'll do now. Okay, I'm over to cut them out on a bandsaw. I'm putting this little table clamp on it you get in the store, and it's a special adaptation to fit on the drill press. And I'm putting that on so I'll get all of these things to sit on a flat surface, like so, that I can set the depth that I'm requiring. And the doweling that I will be using a Forstner bit, which is a flat top thing, and it's a 1/2 inch, because I'll be putting a 1/2 inch dowel in the top part. The drill's not tight. I made these pieces a little bit thinner just because they look a little bit better. And I've thinned them down on the bandsaw, and then I've sanded them. And now I'm going to be sanding the inside circle with the drill press. Okay, I've sanded the inside on the inside curve, and this is a drum sander that comes with for a drill, and you put this slightly below the table level so that you can put this flat on it and do that, and otherwise you end up with different. So this is fine; it does fine, and as long as this is below the table, then it works fine. Okay, with a router, you always have to go from right to left this way, because this is, the average motor is 1,800 revolutions. This is 25,000. And if you went the wrong way, the whole thing could just fly out of your hands and maybe cut your fingers off. It's a pretty dangerous machine. So we'll try it. Okay, I've put the dowels in these, and these are just 1/2-inch dowels, and I've drilled 1/2-inch hole, and I put it in, and I put this is a 4-inch piece of just scrap wood, and this is approximately my distance between each one, and there'll be someplace around that. And then I'll drill a bunch of holes in here, and I'll have another one like so, and another piece of 4-inch, and this will be approximately 4 inches, and these will line up with each other across from each other. Okay, the difference between the two drills, one is a pointed one, which is drilling for right through pieces of wood. A Forstner bit has a flat top on it, because in this case I only want to drill halfway down, and then it'll have a flat bottom, so that when I put a dowel in it, the dowel just goes in to a certain depth that I've set, and that just works fine. Okay, I've got the piece of wood here, and I've got the 2 holes drilled, and now I'm going to put a little dab of glue on it, and instead of pouring it on the way they do on the television shows, you just pour a little bit into this little tin can, and that's probably enough glue. The old can. I'm just going to put a bit of glue in here. Because this is fast drying glue, it'll only take a few minutes for it to set. Okay, I've put the other 4 pieces in, and I've used my fancy gauge here, and that's usually about the right distance between them. As I said before, this is fast drying glue. It'll only take a few minutes. I finished putting the other 4 in, and except for putting the thing on the bottom, then this is completed except for staining and finishing and stuff, and I'll do that next. And the reason for drilling those holes in, now it becomes obvious, because by trying to put one of these on through hardwood, you'd be putting a tremendous amount of pressure on here. This way the holes are already drilled, and makes it much easier on the wood and you too. Almost finished with this. There we are. And that's finished. And there you have it. Before you do any painting or staining at all, use a very damp cloth to take all the dust off that you can find. Otherwise, you'll end up with all kinds of bumps. And this is just slightly damp, so it's taken off most of the dust. And I use Varathane because it gives a better finish, but you can't use Varathane straight out of a can. It must be diluted. So my good old salmon can again comes in handy. This has Varathane that has been cut about 30%. Over. Put it on some sort of a tilted edge. Usually on the first coat, because it's fairly thin, it'll just to be absorbed. Wipe a bit of this stuff off. Upside down and kind of just check this. I finished putting the Varathane on, and when it dries, you'll have to sand it with different grades of sandpaper, from very, very fine, very, very rough, which is 80 grit, and the second coat will take 220 grit, the third will take 600 grit. And this will be very fine. Takes about 4 coats to finish one of these properly. So that concludes the program for today. So thanks very much for watching. This is Ron Rushworth.